Hey, I'm Darknote. It's been a while. Hope you all are doing well. Today I'll be talking about how to build and play a Ayaka Freeze team updated for 2023. The team composition would be Ayaka plus Hydro plus Anemo plus Cryo for Cryo Resonance. So let's talk about the stat guidelines for Ayaka. You want her to have 4-piece Blizzard Strayer for the 40% crit rate on frozen enemies. People ideally aim for 45% crit rate on Ayaka, as that combined with the 40% from the 4-piece set and the 15% from Cryo Resonance gives you a 100% crit rate Ayaka. But if you have less than 45, that's still fine. It's not the end of the world. I don't have it either because my artifacts suck. But it's a goal to work towards if you want her to be perfect, or you can just leave it as it is, as she still works fine. Apart from that, you want crit damage and then attack percent and then energy recharge in substat. You want to go for an attack sans, cryo goblet, and a crit damage circlet. You can run attack percent if you already have a lot of crit damage from your weapon and substats, and that might give you more damage, but that's something you have to try it out for yourself. How much ER she needs depends on her weapon and your teammates' weapons. If you have the Anemo blade, that lowers the ER requirement. And if you have Favonius on your team or you have Sacrificial on your second Cryo, that also lowers the ER requirement for Ayaka. Generally 130 to 140-ish is enough for you. You can plus minus from that depending on what exact team and weapons you're using, and find what works for you. So let's talk about the Hydro slot. First is Kokomi. You can give her Thrilling Tales and she can give an attack buff to Ayaka. She's also a great healer and has great off-field Hydro application. You can use Mona, who can also use Thrilling Tales and give a damage amp with her burst moment debuff. And she is the OG Hydro slot of this team, and even in 2023 she still works fine with Ayaka. You can also use Ayato, who is pretty good with Ayaka. You just use his burst and then use Ayaka's burst, and then switch back to Ayato and use his skill to do damage and apply even more Hydro to keep things frozen. You can also use Yelan or Xingqiu, who are both great off-field Hydro DPSs and have really good Hydro application, but you have to auto attack to proc their bursts, so keep that in mind. And we have Barbara, who can also hold Thrilling Tales to give an attack buff to Ayaka. She is the baseline for Hydro application. She is not great at off-field Hydro application, but if you have no choice, she can be used. So now let's talk about the Anemo slot. We have Kazuha, who gives elemental damage bonus and also groups enemies. We have Venti, who also groups enemies and has a passive that refunds energy of the swirled elements, so you'll have an easier time getting Ayaka's burst back. You can also use Sucrose, and if you have C6, she does give elemental damage bonus if you can get her burst to swirl Cryo consistently. Apart from these three, any other Anemo character with 4-piece Viridescent will work fine. So now let's talk about the Cryo slot. We have Shenhe, who massively boosts cryo damage and as such also greatly increases Ayaka's damage. So if you have her, definitely use her with Ayaka. We have Diona, who is a great shielder, a great battery, and also heals at the same time. You can also use Layla, who is a really good shielder and is also a sub DPS, and the difference between Layla and Diona is Layla doesn't heal, but she does more damage than Diona, despite the fact that Diona has Cryo Ascension. Rosaria also gives crit rate as a passive, which if you're severely lacking in that department is someone that you can use. And she's also a really good sub DPS and a battery for Ayaka. You can also use Ganyu burst support, as she does give cryo damage bonus in her burst, and she also does pretty good off-field damage. Kaya can also be used as a sub DPS and battery. So now let's talk about rotation. You want to apply cryo usually with your second cryo and then swirl with your Anemo character, and then you want to use your Hydro character to freeze the enemy and then use Ayaka's skill, dash, and then burst. You can either stay on Ayaka and do more damage with normals and charge attacks, or switch to Anemo and then swirl again or regroup your enemies again, or you can just start getting your burst back for the next rotation. In this footage, I used Diona's skill burst, Kazuha's skill burst, Mona burst skill, and then Ayaka's skill dash burst, and then switch back to Kazuha to swirl and regroup enemies again, and then just use Diona's skill and Ayaka's skill to get my bursts back and repeat. And that's how to build and play a Ayaka Freeze team. If you have any questions or corrections, leave them down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more. I'm Darknote, thanks for watching, have a good one.